So if you're watching this video, you're probably like me and you have had a recent awakening or the veil has been lifted and you are kind of a little confused. Now, this can often happen after attending a Dr. Joe event, or it could just happen in some other moment in your life. So I like the way that the word veil is used, because a veil in olden days, a veil was used to hide things. You don't exactly know what's on the other side. For example, a woman puts a veil on and you know she's there, but you don't really see her and you don't really know her, what she looks like. And so a veil kind of hides that. So the way I think of a veil being lifted is you kind of think you know what's out there in the universe. But once this veil's lifted, you're like, oh my goodness, I thought I knew what was real, what was really out there, but now I'm totally lost. So that's where an awakening is, or my eyes were opened, or whatever phrase you want to use, but you may get that. So my awakening happened after my first Dr. Joe event. I had a couple experiences there where I had a lot of healing going on. At one point, I had connected with the divine, and I just felt this incredible sense of love and this light in front of me or above me, and this sense of love. And in that moment, I knew that God or some other divine being was there and watching over us, and I connected. Now, I've been raised Christian, and I always questioned a little bit whether or not God really existed. I was like, well, I kind of feel like it, and, we're being told all this and told all that. But in this moment, I knew that God existed. Now, some of you may be in the reverse, where you were raised or just never really have believed much in a higher being. But now all of a sudden you're like, whew, I think there might be something that's connecting us all together, some other source watching over us. I think that's why Dr. Joe says source, divine, God. He uses many different phrases because so many people have so many different beliefs. So I'm sorry if I offend you in any way with my beliefs, but these are just my beliefs, and you are going to struggle with your own beliefs. So there was another moment too. I was a Healy at my first event, and there was a moment where, again, I saw this light, but this time it was more intense and it shot through me. And another man in my group actually sensed and saw that happen too. But then after that happened, I saw everybody in the arena, their heart shot light out of it. And then up above, there was like this web of energy floating all above us. And then that shot out across the entire world. And it's hard to even describe what I saw. But some people say that how can God see everybody at the same time? I kind of sensed that because I felt like I saw everybody in the world at the exact same time. I saw all these faces in front of me, and I felt connected to everybody in the entire world. And then also in that moment, I believe that no religion is wrong. No religion is wrong at all, because it was like, as long as you're connected to some other higher source or higher being, then we're not wrong. If you have this love in your heart and you are connected, then you're not wrong. This is where my awakening happened, because I guess you can say I felt like I was lied to my whole life. Not that I was purposely lied to. My parents didn't lie to me. My preachers didn't lie to me. That's what they knew, and that's what they taught me. And so it was kind of a division between God and religion. So I believe God exists, but I believe religion shouldn't really even exist, because most religions will say you have to pray this time many times a day, you have to follow this rule and that rule and do this and do that. I really don't think there's any rules. There's no rules as long as you have love in your heart and you let that guide you. Then I think that's all that matters. That's all that matters. If you're connected and you have love in your heart, imagine if everybody in the world felt the way that I felt, there would be world peace. there would be no reason for religion. There'd be no reason for us to divide the country or the continents. Nothing would divide us at all whatsoever, because we'd all realize we're all connected inside and we're all connected to the divine. And so there's no reason for all that. So anyway, when I got home, I had so much going through my brain. And I mean, there was all these questions about, I wasn't fully healed, but I had drastic healing. So I was like, okay, what can I do to get fully healed? And all this stuff. So I went, there's a local bookstore here, a wonderful bookstore. It deals with a lot of mystical kind of things. So, and they have tons and tons of books. I spent hours in that store just flipping through books and found a bunch of books. I'll show you. There's so many different books. And I mean, I was like, I can tell you, I know a lot of you are probably hooked to your phones, but I was off my phone for weeks, and all I was doing is reading these books and getting into them because I had all these questions. And now every book that I got, kind of had to take with a grain of salt, because different beliefs in them. Some people are talking about all these crazy things. I'm like, whoa, that seems way out there. People start mentioning crystals and incense and just different things. And, everybody has their different beliefs about all that. And you guys can do all that, whatever. I was just looking for answers is what I was looking for. I got a lot of answers. I guess you could say I fed myself, made myself feel a little better, because I kind of felt a little upset. I was explaining to somebody, I said, it was kind of like living your whole life not knowing you're adopted, and then you find out you're adopted, and you're like, whoa, my parents aren't my real parents, and you have all these questions and stuff, but then you kind of get over that and move on, and you accept it, and then you're okay. And that's kind of what I needed. I needed some reaffirmation and just some feeding from other sources, because I didn't know who else to talk to. Now I realize that there's people out there you can talk to. So if you are going through something and you can't handle it on your own, you can go see a psychiatrist, psychologist, counselor, whatever, but there are spiritual counselors that you can look for that can help you through this stuff. I just met one the other day. I wish I had known that several months ago when I was going through all this, and I told her I would have loved that. But anyway, there is, if you're going to ask me, what book should I get? All these books I got were great. There's a couple I was like, I took bits and pieces out of. Others I just dove into. There's one that's very basic and it's very simple. I got it right here. Positive Energy. I got this, believe it or not, Five Below. Five Below actually had some really interesting books there. It's by Tanaz Chubb. It says creator of foreverconscious.com. So I guess they have a website. I haven't been to it yet. And actually, I haven't finished this book. This is one I just got recently. But it says everything you need to awaken your soul, raise your vibration, and manifest an inspired life. And it does have a lot about awakening in there. So it's a very good basic book. It's not too big. But like I said, there's so many other ones out there that I could highly recommend, but too many. But dig in yourself and see what way you want to go, because if you're wanting to go different routes, you should look at different books that way. So anyway, kind of going back to when you have this awakening. So you change yourself. You are vibrating a higher frequency. So you yourself you're just like, life is so different to you. You're looking at life through a completely different set of eyes. So you want to do a lot more things positive. So one thing I noticed is my wardrobe changed. Yes, I'm wearing black today, okay? But anyway, I normally would wear black and gray and all these really dingy colors. But I was wearing bright colors. I realized my wardrobe was so drab. And so I changed that. I was listening to all this really positive music. I was listening to some of the old stuff that I would always listen to. I was like, oh, this just brings me down. I don't want that. So I changed my music. A lot of people, Dr. Joe says, you'll start to kind of lose some of your friends because they kind of notice you're a little different, because he talks about how people will connect because they have similar things that they share in their life. Oh, you've been through that. Oh, I've been through that. Oh, you were raised that way. I was raised that way. So you kind of connect. But now when you're not hanging on to all those things that connected you with their friends, they sense that and they don't connect with you. I have one friend that was kind of the same way. We both struggled with our health issues and different things like that. And it was weird. We were supposed to get together right after the event, but it was just like I lost total touch with her and everything. I was kind of like, what's up? But I kind of let her be, because I guess maybe she just sensed that something had changed in me. So it was really interesting. We were those people that would she'd text me and I'd be like, oh, I was just thinking about you. But like now it was just like we disconnected in some way. So it's kind of interesting that way. But I felt great. But then I started getting to a point to where I had too much information coming my way. I had people starting to tell me, oh, we were reincarnated and, you might have been living on another planet. And, maybe these emotions you're carrying were from a previous life. And I don't know if all that's true. You may believe that. But for me, that really started dragging me down a little bit. And it's like we keep getting reincarnated until we get it right. And I'm like, well, so what? I'm going to just keep living this life and, I was like, I want to go to be with the divine and be there forever. There was a lot of things I was just like, I was struggling with it. And all these things started kind of bringing me down. And you are going to go on an emotional roller coaster. I guarantee it. You're going to have ups and downs. And I had gotten to a point where I had totally just totally crashed. And I was feeling really depressed, which is not normally like me. I was depressed because of my health, which had come up. But this was weird. It was like, I just was like, what's the point in living? You start questioning, what's my purpose in life? Why am I here? You have all these fears about life. And so it just consumed me. And I couldn't handle it anymore. And I told my husband, I said, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to just go back to being who I was instead of who I was at that moment. But I have to remember that I was that person, and then I became this incredible person, and now I'm just like, I've heard many times it being told things are going to get worse before they get better, and they did get worse. My husband reminded me I was in the river of change. So I'd gotten in that river, and I was like, oh man, this feels good, and I was like, woohoo, let's go, let's get to the other side. And then I got to the middle of the river, and that current was too strong for me to take. It was way too strong. And I just wanted to turn back. I didn't want to go any further. It was too hard. I didn't. But my husband helped me. I've never believed much in affirmations, but that's all he could think of at the time. And he had me try to say something out loud to repeat after him, and I could hardly say it. I started crying when I said it. But I finally got through and I said it. And amazingly, after I said it, I felt better. I think it was something like, this is something I have to go through, or I'm in the river of change, or something like that. And I felt uplifted. Now, I'm not going to say immediately I felt better, but I felt better than I was. So that was my rock bottom. And then I came up, down, up, down, up. So it was roller coaster, up and down, up and down. But slowly it's been getting better. I think a lot of it too was this, what's my purpose? What if, I'm going to keep on being reincarnated? What if I'm from another planet? I had all these weird things going through my mind. And then I think just recently I had some kind of a turnaround. And I guess you could say it's a spiritual one, because I think I was focusing on the wrong stuff. And so I guess you could say spiritually I started connecting more. I think I was disconnecting from source and trying to figure it out matter to matter. Even though it was in the 5D world, it was kind of like I was trying to figure out matter to matter. And so I think once I started connecting more with source, my heart grew more and I started feeling better. And I'm really, the last week and a half, 2 weeks, I think I've really been coming around. I don't even know how to explain that. So I think for the veil being lifted, it's just something that it's always been there, and now you have to deal with what you've seen on the other side. Getting a little spiritual on you. I came across a hymn the other day, and there's a verse in it that really kind of triggered me to want to make this video. And it says, "In love, the Father ever veils the future, hides from us tomorrow's care. For well he knows today's own burdens are enough for you and me to bear." And that was really encouraging to me. Really encouraging to me. because the future is veiled from us. We can make whatever we want of the future. I always thought that my future was set out in stone because I've always been told God has it all planned out. So I really thought, well, it doesn't matter what I do. But he just veils the future from us. Think of when you get married. There's a veil and you have one thing in sight. You have the groom in sight. You don't really see or focus on anything else. So I think in our future, if we kind of just focus on one thing in the future, I don't know, whatever you want to do. But everything is really veiled from us. We might know what's there, but we don't really know. But he says, what does it say? For well, he knows today's own burdens are enough for you and me to bear. So I've heard people ask, well, why haven't I had my moment? Why haven't I gotten the Kundalini energy? Whatever. You know, there's all these things. Why haven't I? Why haven't I? Well, and I think that because my awakening was kind of tough, that I think that he only allows what you are able to handle. Or if you want to just say the universe only allows what you are able to handle at that moment in time. You may not be ready for what's coming. You may not be prepared internally, mentally, in your heart, whatever. You may not be ready for whatever is ahead. Because it was hard. And you may be at the height, you may be down at rock bottom, wherever you're at. Just keep looking to the other side of the river because I'm almost there. I see it. I am past that middle of the river where the current is strong. And I see the other side. Now, there's a bunch of trees on the other side, so I know exactly what's on the other side, but I know it's a heck of a lot better than what was back there behind me. And I want to see what's on the other side because I've been promised whatever's on the other side. And if I keep positive, I know it's going to be better on the other side. It's already better. It's already better. So keep on going. I know it can be tough. If you haven't had any down points, then great for you. Just be prepared in case it does come. You may not, because some people are just instantly healed. They just feel great and they keep going. But if you're watching this video, you probably are struggling. And that's why. So if you need help, look for help. Get on Facebook. There's great Dr. Joe groups. If you haven't been on them yet, ask questions. Everybody on there has probably been through what you've been through. There's so many people that have positive comments to give to you. Every once in a while, you're coming across some of those negative Nancys. Just ignore them. They're dealing with their own emotions, and I don't know. Just ignore them. Listen to the advice of the people that are positive because they know, and they are honestly trying to help you if they're being positive. If people are being negative, like I said, ignore them. But that's about it.